Welcome everybody, this is BisuDagger on the microphone, and we are watching GOM TV's Classic Season 4. This is day 2 of games, and first off we have here, going right into the map, it is Movie versus C. So it is going to be a TVP against two of the top players, two of the top dogs. They are the best from 2013 of their respective races. C, definitely one of the players who can claim the crown as greatest of 2013. He won almost every single event that he participated in, and so he has collected quite a few golds inside of the Sonic Leagues. Meanwhile, Movie, he's a solid Protoss player. I think he outperformed all other Protoss players in 2013. While he did not bring as many golds home because C just raked them all in, and some signs from the crowd there. But Movie, a very good player too. So this could be a close best of 3. While we are in Game 1, this is going to be on the map Luna, if you did not catch that in the countdown. And that means that is a 4-player map that has not been played since 2006. Starting up in 2004, that was the first time we actually saw that map. And some notable things about this, thanks to Liquipedia on teamliquid.net. It is known as a map that has uninspired gameplay. A map that is infamous for being the map that destroyed micro-oriented gameplay. So that's quite a while ago. The metagame has changed quite a bit since 2006, I would say, in PvP. Therefore, I think we will see a game that's a little bit more exciting, and hopefully this map does not destroy the micro that we can see out of these two players, because they're just such great, intelligent, and top-notch opponents. So first off, we see there is no gateway down quite yet. What is Movie going to be going for here? He obviously could be going for that 14 Nexus if he decides, or 12 Nexus, I'm sorry. You actually want to get that Nexus at your 12 if you expand before your gateway here. And it looks like that's exactly what he's going to be going for. Meanwhile, C, he's still on one base. You cannot see an SCV in that open area at the natural base. And the refinery is on its way too. So refinery and a barracks means that typically the Terran player can go for a siege expand. It is a safe opening. And if your opponent did decide to go for 2-gate early on, you can probably defend it with your really fast factory here. But of course, also going for a bunker expand is a standard Terran move. So it's going to be interesting to see what he wants to do out of getting this factory so early. Are vultures going to be playing a huge role? Will he be rushing siege mode? How will C be able to deal with Movie, especially with that economic lead that Movie can have by going for such a fast Nexus? Unlike in a PvZ, you do not forge expand because there's really no gain from putting that forge and walling off. It's such a different matchup when you want to expand versus Terran than when you do your expansion timings versus a Zerg player. So there are Marines on the map, and I'm curious to see what building that was. I just missed him clicking on it. So we see 17 SCVs, 17 probes are on the map, 2 Marines, 0 Zealots, and 2 gateways are down. Cybernetics core is on the way. He will be mining gas, which means that he can have Dragoons out very quickly here, and immediately I will presume he will be going for that range upgrade so his Dragoons can fire on all cylinders at maximum distance. The SCV does have a scout. C knows exactly what's going on by his opponent. He can tell by how late the gateways are with the fact that the Cybernetics core isn't here. And look at this, he brought an SCV and he's building a bunker. Oh my goodness. Okay, so C is bringing a whole bunch of SCVs here to go in for this engagement, and they're more to kind of soak up damage while those bunkers can get into place and put the Marines right inside. And the Zealot is trying to target down this SCV here. Is it going to be done in time? Yes, he is able to pick it off, but there are a bunch more SCVs on the way here, and these Zealots are just trying to pick up the Marines instead, and he needs to make sure he focuses all the SCVs as they continue to come in here. But wow, one of the bunkers is already finished, and now he can just focus on repairing if he wants to. That's a lot of SCVs here. Movie's going to be in a lot of trouble here. The Marines are pushing forward. They have the bunker to hide in if they need to get pushed back. But only pure Zealots here. There are no Dragoons on the map quite yet, which means that without that range, it's going to be really difficult to get in here. That Vulture coming in behind this is going to be just a pain for these Zealots, because they can easily kite the Zealots and do their burst damage. Range is on its way, but with the Dragoons without that range, it's going to be really hard to micro them against these Marines, because the Marines can hit them within that shorter Dragoon range here. And that Nexus, it is under fire from these Marines. The SCVs are even attacking it with their really low attack damage, and the SCVs can repair the vultures too. So there's a lot of utility by having those vultures there. And with 22 SCVs, he actually has a higher worker count than Movie at this time. Movie is in a lot of trouble here. He's going to have to be playing very strategically. The robotics facility coming down, which means he could go for that option of Reaver drops if he wants to. Reavers can be good for trying to break out, bust out down that ramp, but it could also be good for harassment if C does not prepare and focuses too much on the natural base and just using that contained against the Protoss player Movie. Now SCVs have gone back. There are 2 vultures on the map, 6 marines, meanwhile 2 dragoons and 1 zealot. And it looks like C is looking for an additional command center here at his natural base, so he will be expanding and trying to take that huge lead and economy that he has available to him by putting this contain on Movie. Movie really can't bust out right now. He needs a lot more units here. 3 dragoons is not nearly enough, especially with the tank in there, and spider mines are being laid out by the bunker too. So this is really difficult. C is just using that long range of the tank to try and get some additional shots off here. Losing that marine is not really a huge deal because the DPS of that single marine is not going to be enough to do any damage anyway. And a few SCVs still here to repair that bunker, so C's putting himself in a really good position for this contain, and he has an engineering bay on the way, which means that he can build turrets at his contain in Movie's natural and defend his base from the drops if Movie decides to go for them. Movie's going to need those Reaver drops very quickly here to try and get this timing before the turrets are finally up. And siege mode is going to be on the way for these tanks. It's going to be finishing up, and that's going to be even harder for Movie. The thing that Movie has going for him is comsat stations aren't finished being built for C, which means he's not going to be able to reveal on the high ground and allow those siege tanks to get damage off on top of those units. But still, siege mode there, catching a unit right at the top of the ramp, just barely in range of that vision for the Terran opponent here, and every once in a while he could just sneak an SCV up there, get a small view of his Protoss opponent, and pop some shots off on top of that Protoss army, and just kind of keep that supply really low for Movie. So 3 tanks on the map, 3 vultures, 48 supply to 52 of our Protoss player Movie. All he really can do is focus on army. He has the maximum amount of probes that you really want mining inside of your main base, probably, and some. He probably has additional probes too, brought over from that natural, and could be over mining inside of his main. Anticipating a push out. If he can break outside of his natural, get a nexus up, then he's going to want all those extra probes. So the oversaturation of probes though will start to hurt him after a while too, because you're going to run through your resources much quicker. And here is C defending with that turret inside of his natural base, doing a great job here, and no damage done by Movie. He's going to have to look for another approach, and it looks like these buildings are floating around just perfect positions here to see where that shuttle is, and nothing is going to get done here. But it looks like there are no turrets in the way of this shuttle. It might be able to make it inside of that main base. How much damage is going to get done if C doesn't react? The Reaver is down, and it actually picks off one of the vultures right away, but he's going to have to pick it up with that tank and the vulture there. One more vulture going down, so 2 kills from the Reaver, but it's only army units. SCVs are really where he needs to start doing the damage on top of Movie here. And a tank right under. There was a zealot inside the shuttle. So clever here. 2 zealots are just popping out. He might be able to take out this tank very quickly. And a shot goes off, but only kills one of the SCVs. And now it's chasing another group of SCVs down. It's in the middle of the mix, but it duds out right in the middle. Wow, only taking off individual SCVs. These are the most inefficient Reaver shots I have ever seen. This is really unfortunate for Movie. It's kind of the coin flip harassment unit in this game. Sometimes you just can be really disappointed with how much your Reaver lets you down. So building more pylons inside of his base, he's got to make sure that he does not get supply capped. 1 Reaver is alive, along with 6 Dragoons. Meanwhile, 6 tanks and 3 vultures. I think this still favors C pretty heavily here, especially since he's got a good defense on that low ground. He's got the turrets available to him, and C really hasn't packed it in yet and said goodbye. So it looks like a bust out for Movie. He's trying to get down here, but the Dragoons are in the way of the Zealots. The Zealots are the ones that want to be tanking this damage. And will they get a good mine drag here? It looks like the mines were just taken out right away. I wonder if C targeted down his mines with the tank shot. It looked like he almost did that, so that way they couldn't run into his tanks because the Zealots were out here. And it looks like he might be able to break this. This is a bust out. The Reaver doing some micro too, getting some damage out there, but that last bunker, along with those tanks, it was too strong for Movie to be able to break the contain at his natural base, and he's going to have to regather himself. He only has 1 Dragoon left. 2 Reavers are out on the map though, 7 tanks, along with 5 Vultures, 2 Marines. That's a really strong army from C. This early in the game with this sort of contain, it's just not good for Movie. He doesn't have that economy to catch up with C, who has that additional command center inside of his natural base. So here comes the drops again. He's got 2 Reavers inside of that shuttle, I'm presuming, because we did not see Reavers anywhere else. He did not drop it on top of the ramp and is trying to slow move them down. And a little bit of impatience from Movie if he tries to engage right here. The Zealots do have that speed upgrade, so they can just run their way in here. And it looks like Movie's trying to go for a bust again. Is this going to be successful this time? The tanks are not even in siege mode, so that splash damage is not going to pay in the favor of Movie. And the Dragoons are getting pushed back again. He only has 4 left. Still, the 2 Reavers are alive, and he can get some good shots off on those tanks. If 2 Scarabs can land in the tank mix, then he can get some good damage done here. But turrets are on the way, and once these turrets are done, the Reavers can die very quickly here. This is not going to be good for Movie. He's got to make sure he busts before this contain. Dropping 2 Reavers right away, but the tank damage along with those Vultures immediately kills them. They die right off the bat. And now there's only 2 Dragoons left, and Movie is going to have to call GG. Tapping out. And for uninspired gameplay, I think that was a very exciting first game. Movie playing really well, reading his opponent right off the bat, doing some flash-style bunkering on top of that 12 Nexus to punish it. I mean, this really reminiscent of Flash back in 2009. And C, as the reigning Terran, can he win this next game and take a 2-0 victory against Movie? He's gonna have to. Movie's gonna have to basically calm down, find his inner power, his inner Protoss psionic energy, and try to overcome the beast that is Terran C. Okay, guys, this is BisuDagger on the microphone. We will be going into Game 2 very shortly. Thank you for watching GOM XP, and hang tight as the next video will be underway.